Hi, merhaba, welcome to Inji Cooks Turkish. And today I wanted to make something that would be really great for summertime. And you can make this either in the oven or on the stovetop. And since we're doing a summertime version, I am going to do the stovetop version. So that way you don't have to heat up your kitchen or deal with turning on the oven in the summertime, because I know that is so like unnecessary. We don't need more heat, right? So this is a super easy recipe. It takes a lot of different ingredients, but it turns out so delicious that you'll love it. It's fun to put together, and it's a little different than some of our American skillet dishes. So get ready, you're gonna love this. Okay, your family's going to too. They'll just eat it up. Okay, so on our first little step that we're gonna do, we're gonna take 1 cup of our water that we're going to use for our rice, and we're going to put it right in here in our measuring cup. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take some of the mild pepper paste that's used frequently in Turkey. I'm going to take about a tablespoon, like a real full tablespoon. And I'm just using, whoops, let me scrape this out because it's sticking. Okay. And then we're going to take some of the tomato paste. I told you I love using Turkish tomato paste because it is sweeter and truly amazing. And I'm going to take 1 really heaping tablespoon. It's more probably like 2 tablespoons because I'm using my very favorite spoon here that I use for all kinds of measuring. So it's about 2 tablespoons. And then we're going to take a little bit of better than bouillon, or you can use the Knorr bouillon. And I'm going to just take 1 teaspoon of that. Now, if you use bouillon, if you don't have it, you don't have to use it. But if you do, make sure you adjust for the salt because it can get really salty. If you salt full blast into your dish, it will be so salty, you will not enjoy that at all. And then let's take a little bit of black pepper and do about 8 or 10 grinds in here. And I'm going to take some smoked paprika. Let's see if I can get this open. Here we go. And I'm going to take about a teaspoon of that here. I'm actually using a real measuring spoon. Okay, so a teaspoon of that. That makes it taste really great. And then I'm going to take some of the Aleppo pepper. Now, if you have this, it's like a sweet pepper. I'm going to take that and use it. I'm going to take about a teaspoon of that as well. It's going to be very flavorful. And then now it's time for our lovely herbs. I'm going to take some mint that's fresh chopped. I just happen to have fresh chopped mint, but if you have dry, that works just fine too. I'm going to take just a handful, so maybe about a teaspoon of it. There we go. And I have some fresh dill. You know what I noticed about the dill, and the same with the mint, is like you have to go through and kind of tear off these little fronds. Otherwise, this little stem, if you try to chop this in there, is very woody. So I don't recommend. Make sure you take them off and you put them in here just individually. I'm just going to tear this one so we can use it. I'm going to take a little, probably about a teaspoon of this in here too. A little bit more. And then there's parsley. Now this week it was the curly parsley that looked really nice. So I selected that. And you can put a healthy, just a couple of bunches there to put it into your little sauce. And what you're going to do, this is like a little Turkish sauce. And this is going to be your little flavor sauce that you're going to put over the chicken, and it will seep into the rice as well. And it's going to add so much flavor. You're going to love it. It's going to taste fresh because of the herbs in here. And I know in America, they don't use a lot of dill in cooking different kinds of chicken dishes and stuff like this. So this is very, very fresh tasting. You will love the dill taste in your chicken as well as the mint. So let's do that. And then we're going to move on to our next step. Okay, so now that we've made our Turkish simmer sauce, we're going to set that aside for just a second, and then we're going to assemble our skillet. And I'm using like a deeper 12-inch pan with a lid, and that seems to be the best way to do this because you want that covered Tavuk Kapama, it means covered chicken, and that's what we're going to do with this pan. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom, so that way we get a lot of flavor from it as well as it won't stick. So let's go ahead and put the rice in here. And I washed this rice till it ran clear. And then now we're putting this in here. It's a long grain rice. We don't typically use short grain in Turkey. And it's just a regular cooked rice. It's not a quick cooking rice. And then I'm just going to smush it around in the pan. And now we're going to take the remainder of the water and put it in here. And then I chopped one onion very, very finely. I did it in my little baby food processor. So that way there are no chunks. I do, like, some people like it chunky. In this dish, I feel like it's much better when it's just incorporated throughout the rice so you don't get the big chunks. So I'm going to just stir it in. And then make sure the onion is distributed all throughout the pan with the rice. And now we're going to put in the chicken. So what we're going to do, let's scooch some of this over. What we're going to do is we're going to put the chicken in, and then we'll layer in some of the other vegetables, and it will look really pretty when you're done. Let's just go ahead and put these guys in. You can just arrange it however will fit in your pan. I'm kind of going to make like a clock in here, I think. That seems to be the way it might fit. Okay, we got to make room here for the other guys. The big one in the middle. Whoops, whoops. I'll put this here. Now I am using chicken thighs in here with the skins on because I feel like the chicken thighs have a lot of flavor, and also the skins impart flavor into the rice. So I keep the skins on. You can certainly not have chicken thighs. You can use drumsticks. I don't really recommend a breast in this dish because it gets too tough and too dry, because you do need to cook it long enough so the rice is cooked. So I recommend drumsticks. I recommend chicken thighs. So let's go with that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in, I have some pepper here, and it's kind of the smaller peppers. I have an orange and a yellow one, and you just kind of distribute it all throughout here very nicely. And you can put this in the oven as well, but since we're doing it for summertime, I'm like, I don't want to turn on the oven, it's too hot. So I'm going to just make this a stovetop version. And then I also had a little bit of eggplant, so I'm going to put that in here too because I didn't want to waste my eggplant. It was too pretty. Oops, that's all I have. And then now let's kind of smoosh it in there so it gets into the sauce and cooks real nice. Just make sure they're kind of submerged. That way they'll collect all the flavors and impart flavors into your rice. So let's make sure they're all in there. Get in there. And then now it's going to be time for the tomatoes. And that you're going to just kind of sandwich in there too. And just how I put, this is 2 tomatoes, but you can put just 1 if you only have 1 around. It's kind of flexible. Oops, that one I didn't cut very good. Okay, here we go. And you just kind of put it everywhere. And this will turn out very pretty when you're finished, but also it's going to really just give you a lot of vegetables in here and a lot of flavors. Let's do this. And now it's time for our nice sauce we're going to put on top. It's the Turkish simmer sauce that you made earlier. And I'm going to kind of spoon it on, even though I have it in a measuring cup, because I want to make sure I get it on my chicken. That way it'll be nice and tasty. Here we go. And it has such a pretty color too when you cook it. It gives it a nice kind of reddish, decorated look to your chicken, so it looks all finished. Okay, let's see. Almost done. And the rest goes in. Okay, and then what I'm going to do now is I am going to put it on the stovetop, and we're going to cook it for 20 to 30 minutes, and then we're going to check it to see if the rice is done, if the chicken's done. If it's not, you can add a little bit more water to it and let it simmer for another 5 to 10 minutes more, and then at that point, it should be complete. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to take it to the stove and let it simmer. It's been about 30-ish minutes, probably about 35. And let's see, I'm excited to see. Oh, wow. So pretty. Look at that. All the vegetables are done. And it looks like the chicken is done as well. So let's do this. Let's plate it so we can try it. And you can see what it looks like on a plate. Is all done cooking, and I'm going to plate it up for you now so you can see what it looks like when it's all done and on your plate. So here we go. Let's see. Ho ho, look at that. As we say in Turkish, mashallah, huh? It's beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to get a little, I should get my plate here. I'm going to get a thigh. Ooh, they're so juicy. Look at that. And then let's get some of the tomato and the pepper. You've got a nice little, I'm gonna put that there. And then now we're gonna grab some of the rice to go with it. Here we go. Look at that. Turned out so nice. And this is really great for summertime when you can just make it in the skillet like that. It turns out so terrific, and I can't wait to try it. So let's give it a try. They're going to turn the chicken around. And let's take a little bite here. So juicy. You know what? I'm going to turn it around. Look at this. It's just so juicy, and it is not dry one tiny bit. Look at that. Yum. There's nothing dry about this chicken for sure. Let's take a little bite here. Oops, oops, oops. There we go. I'm going to dip it in the sauce. The yummy part. Ooh, I love the minty parsley, all of the flavors, and the dill together is so fresh and so different. Highly recommend you guys try it. I know your family's going to love it. And it's not the typical skillet dinner for summertime, but I think it's going to become a favorite and something that you return to time and time again. So I'm going to try also the rice. Again, all of the flavors from the chicken are infused into the rice, as well as the vegetable flavors. So you've got not bland rice. It is not plain. You've got tons of flavor in it. So you will totally enjoy it. But anyway, thank you, teşekkürler, for joining us, and hoşça kalın. And please remember to subscribe to the channel so that way you don't miss an episode, and we'll see you back again. Thank you. Bye-bye.